Rock music is, to a degree, for the people that don't necessarily have a voice or aren't necessarily accepted. It could be, this is how I want to identify with myself and my own feelings. It's a different thing. That's not about mass production or mass appeal.
Most people who really do music because they love it, they don't really do it for other people. They do it for themselves. There's always going to be people that are inspired by music that I make if I'm inspired to do it.
They're kind of reacting to you, and you're reacting to them.
Evoking images or feelings in them and allowing them to kind of feel something in their story.
That sort of emotional reaction, it sort of takes off on its own.
Chris Cornell is one of rock music's most iconic voices. From his early days in Soundgarden to the supergroup Temple of the Dog, his explosive tenure with Audioslave, and his equally remarkable solo career, Cornell left an indelible mark on the music world. With his powerful vocals and soulful lyrics, he helped define the grunge movement of the 90s. Throughout his career, he achieved remarkable milestones, including countless chop-charting hits, numerous Grammy Awards, and a spot on Rolling Stone's list of the greatest singers of all time. While many can attribute his success just to his charisma as a performer, diving deeper into Chris's life, you can find that there's an intellect that is often overlooked. His views on religion are not only thought-provoking, but they add an entirely new dimension to Chris's persona.
There's religion, or at least religious associations in a lot of your music, and I'm curious to know, having that been your past, where are you at now with regard to religion?
I don't follow any particular one. I don't think there really is any particular thought or book or ideal to me that completely resonates with me. I think that there are a lot of really cool ideas in a lot of different kinds of religions. And then there's a lot of it that I don't agree with, and there's a lot of superstition. And, ultimately, I think I'm just sort of a free thinker, and I'm kind of open. I feel like we sort of focus on right ways and wrong ways too much. And I think it's, in a sense, sort of scary to just be born and live life. And I understand the idea of kind of grasping onto a particular thought of wanting to kind of feel like you somehow have a handle on the unknown. But you know what? The unknown is the unknown.
Yeah.
And also at this point in time and looking from this point back, so many bad things as well as good things have happened based on people just sort of blindly following religion, that I kind of feel like I want to stay away from any type of specific denomination or any religion, period, if for no other reason than just that. I don't want to be involved with anything or condone any school of thought that at some point and in some way causes the death of innocent people or tragedies that just are where an initial fantastic idea is distorted. Like the life, for example, of Jesus is well documented. It's corroborated by different people who had different backgrounds and different levels of education, and they wrote about it. We know this guy existed, and we know pretty much what he said, and it was pretty simple. Everything from that point on, in terms of wars and fighting over land and territory and religious things, none of that was ever included in anything he said. His message was pretty simple. It was like, be really nice to each other and everything will be okay.
Chris notes the historical accuracy of at least some sort of Jesus figure. As he indicated, though, his views on religion are complex. Let's zoom in on his views on Christianity, specifically the institution of the Catholic Church.
As far as Catholicism, I reject it. Not entirely. I think there's some little things they do here and there that are cool, but I also think that they take a lot of money from people that don't have it, and they put their people up in nice places. The book Lust for Life, which is about Vincent van Gogh, he became a missionary for a while, and he worked with these people that were coal miners, and these people were going down into mines and dying daily, and people were starving to death, and so he started living with them and working with them, and the church came to him and said, no, you can't do that. It's not dignified for a priest. You have to sit in there, and when we bring you food, you eat big meals, you get fat, you sleep on a nice bed, and you don't get dirty, and you don't, you can help them out by going and saying, God will save you, see you, I'm going to go have a snack. And that's kind of the way that they think. And I don't like that.
The example he uses from the book Lust for Life to reinforce his views on Catholicism is quite straightforward. Veering in a more abstract direction, he blurs the lines between imagination and the waking world with his captivating thoughts on the realms of dreams and reality.
Do you think dreams and reality are in the same dimension?
I've put a lot of thought into that because I have weird dreams, sometimes extremely vivid dreams. Sometimes I'm not really sure of which is what. I couldn't really define the multi-dimensions. All I can say is, like, you know, if you're in a dream and you're having that experience, it's as real as when you're not. It's like someone trying to describe that life as it is now, as we're sitting here talking, is an illusion. And yet if I took an ice pick and stuck it through your hand,
Yeah.
it'd be a pretty
wanna feel a
goddamn
lot of
believable
pain.
illusion. So let's just assume it's not an illusion, because there's a lot of reality happening, you know. Whether it's a moment and there's another picture, and that's probably, I guess, the closest thing to what I believe, is that our experience here is just sort of intrinsically here in the earthly, and whatever else is going on, nobody knows, and probably has very little resemblance or really any very little relationship to what is going on here. For example, if we were both dead and spirits or balls of light hovering in the room, we wouldn't need to communicate with words. We wouldn't have to have any of the knowledge that you need to function in a conscious state in the world. We wouldn't need to know about electricity. We wouldn't need to know how to open or close a door, start a car, how to drive, how to follow directions to get where we're going. The more you think about it, with the exception of actual mysticism or religion, everything that occupies our thoughts is earthly. And if we're not in an earthly place, then suddenly the whole earthly kind of experience becomes this very specific thing that death probably wouldn't need to include any of.
His views on dreams and actuality remind me of this quote from Like a Stone by Audioslave. "For all that I've blessed and all that I've wronged, in dreams until my death I will wander on." Chris wrote music for over 3 decades, and it is clear that his ideological outlooks have influenced his lyrics. It must be assuring for him to know that his work has had immense impact on fans' lives.
Nothing has ever replaced that feeling that I've gotten from being able to write and record a song. And it might sound sort of corny saying it, but to be able to write a song and also to be able to share it with people and have someone from some other part of the world, now it can be on the internet, saying, like, this song changed my life. Or I have people who have become friends who went through horrible family tragedies and listened to songs that I wrote that somehow helped them get through it. I don't know how, but somehow. That is like a gift that is so beyond anything. Like, if someone wanted to just gift me the Taj Mahal, this is going to be yours now, that wouldn't mean as much to me as what it feels like to write and create music and be able to share it. It's the one thing that no one can really take away, I suppose, from me. Like, I don't have to go through anybody else, and the only way anyone can get that is, like, from me.
Unlike other successful artists, Chris wrote and performed music for the sheer sake of the process, embracing the moment rather than trying to get somewhere.
You know, from day to day, week to week, month to month, I feel like I'm living a life that is sort of changing, and I'm not really worried about the trajectory of it. I just want to be living it. If I feel inspired to do something musically in the moment, then I'm going to want to go do it, and I am going to go do it. And I'm also going to go do it knowing there's another thing past that. It's kind of sad for me, but I've noticed that throughout the years, being lucky enough to be successful in music, I've seen and met and known a lot of other musicians and people in bands who were lucky as well to be successful in music, and noticed there being kind of a finish line mentality, like there would be with any other type of a business. Like, well, we just point of success where I don't have to worry about, I own my home, I have enough money in the bank I can live off of the rest of my life. I'm finished. I'm done now. And if I get bored in 5 years, I can make a record, that kind of thing. For me, none of that has ever really kind of made sense to me. To me, making music, writing songs, recording albums, touring, playing. That is life. That's not something that I do in life when I get a chance to do it. That and my family all intertwined is what living is.
And he used his life to spread his music across the planet. Driven to expand the boundaries of his world, he was sure to play shows in every corner of the earth.
Will we ever get a chance to see Chris Cornell in a place like Pakistan?
I sure hope so. I have conversations all the time about making my world, and this is my quote, making my world bigger. It ends up being like a matter of corporate affiliations and things like that. Like, how can I afford to take my band, all my equipment and everything that I need to go perform, and take it to all the places in the world that I want to take it? Because that costs money. And it's not even about making money, it's about just being able to afford to do it and finding the right opportunities and putting all that together in a way that makes sense where it's actually possible, and that's all it is. I think playing Cuba really sort of changed my life in that I realized that I'm playing in front of all of these people who have never really been able to see an outdoor rock event ever. It was sort of billed as the first American rock band to play Cuba, but realistically, we were one of the only ones to ever play. In spite of the fact that the Rolling Stones, for example, without any political problems, could walk in and play a show there anytime they want. It costs you money, you have to pay for it, but a successful group that can afford it should be able to do it if they're not American. And even we proved that Americans can do it if you really, have enough people behind you helping you. But there is an audience that can't see every rock band they want. They can't even go buy the CD if they want. And that sort of, it moved me and made me realize that I want to be able to play for everybody that I can in the world that is going to be a fan of the music that I do, and make my world as big as it can possibly make it.
And that's exactly what he did until his death in 2017. Rest in peace, Chris. Your passion and legacy continues to live throughout the timeless power of your music. Chris Cornell tragically passed away at age 52 on May 18, 2017. He left behind a legacy of music and a reputation for one of the most powerful vocal ranges in rock and roll history. Although known for his music, Cornell was also a true intellect, expressing thought-provoking ideas in both interviews and in his song lyrics.
My 5th birthday, actually, on my birthday, was the day that men first walked on the moon. That sort of became part of normal life. Like, wow, this is the world, this is life, this is living, stuff like that happens, and then a guy goes to the moon, and then cool stuff. That's where we somehow managed to focus an incredible amount of resources and energy on useless stuff that doesn't mean anything, like following celebrities that are celebrities for the sake of being celebrities, and buying magazines that they're in, and spending hours of the day thinking about who they are and what they're doing and what clothes they're wearing and what songs they're listening to and who gives a And by the same token, we're still sort of participating in a system that ecologically is slowly but surely destroying everything, and everyone can say that, everyone kind of knows that, even the naysayers sort of have to believe it at this point, but nothing's really changing. And that's all, that's just kind of a strange thing to me. I see sort of the simple truth in a baby, in simple things, because they're taking them simply and they're finding like a universe in something that's very small, that's very simple, that we all take for granted. That's much more important than what some idiot is wearing on a red carpet. To me, it's the kind of the simplicity of like that banana over there, which is pretty amazing. And that sounds like a stupid thing to say, but it's true. It's pretty amazing how it got here. And what always occurs to me is children, having children, watching them grow up, seeing them as babies, taking this almost kind of smug, sort of superior attitude that the adults take around children as though they're smarter, while observing at the same time all of the areas where children are actually much smarter than adults, and the big smart adults not really seeing it. And it's that sort of simplicity, it's that banana that's in front of you, it's that they're living in the moment and seeing everything sort of that is right there. They're not complicating anything, they're not preoccupied with things that are completely unnecessary. Therefore, they're kind of there and open to see sort of the miracles of life. You and me and this nice gentleman holding the camera, when we die, there's nothing left, no memories, we don't exist anymore, it's lights out. It doesn't make where we are and what we're seeing and what our experience is less important or less amazing. It's still just as incredible and just as miraculous. So the idea of spirituality, the idea of a disembodied spirit, the idea of something going on outside of this, it's nice to think about it. It's great if it's there, but it doesn't have to be for us to give a shit about how miraculous the world around us is and what's going on right now.
Chris once said, "I'm not a lyric writer to make statements. What I enjoy doing is making paintings with lyrics, creating colorful images. I think that's more what entertainment and music should be." This quote is a great representation of many Chris Cornell lyrics. One song that paints a vivid picture for me is Like a Stone by Audioslave. The first verse of the song reads, "I was lost in the pages of a book full of death, reading how we'll die alone, and if we're good, we'll lay to rest anywhere we want to go."
Through the history of, like, at least recorded history of human beings, billions of people have been born and died, and there have been geniuses that have lived and from every culture and every part of the world, and not one time has anyone been able to come up with any kind of substantial proof about what happens to us after our bodies die. That's kind of an incredible thing to me. It's kind of like, you would think, it brings a pessimist out of me, which says, if no one's been able to come up with any real concrete scientific evidence that there is life after death or whatever that might be, then it's pretty conclusive that there probably isn't. And then there's another side of me that just intrinsically doesn't believe that that is possible, that we're sort of people with neurons firing, and when our heart stops, that's it. You know, so I suppose in terms of it being thought-provoking and interesting, that it can be inspiring in terms of writing lyrics, and it's a very mysterious thing.
Despite his incredibly successful career, Chris stuck true to his roots and found much more fulfillment in writing music than he did in material items.
I'm not much of a materialist, and I learned that kind of from, you know, you're in a band, you're making music all the time, writing songs. I spend all my energy doing that, and then my band had some success. Suddenly there's money, and there's, I started seeing, like, a lot of friends of mine get really distracted by money, because they'd start going and doing things that they maybe had always been interested in, that being a musician suddenly afforded them to be able to do. And for me, I didn't have any of those things. I just wanted to just keep making music. So it's like, it didn't really, I sort of realized I was a non-materialist, and that stuff didn't really matter that much to me, and that nothing really kind of beat that feeling of writing a song.
Cornell's final album, Higher Truth, had a bit more of a philosophical approach to it. It seems to have a consistent theme of mankind's pursuit of meaning.
One human can kind of create a song, or whatever it is, a poem, a painting, whatever, that stirs something in them, and someone else essentially will be stirred by it too. Not by my story, but sort of it's somehow evoking images or feelings in them and allowing them to kind of feel something in their story. And if you can't do that, then I think you're screwed. What I think is important for anybody is to be able to communicate, and get their feelings across. And so if you're a songwriter, for example, that's one way that you're doing it. And to know that you are communicating is very satisfying, because you never know. I've been in that position before where I felt like a song was working in a way that I thought would be easily communicated, and then after a while I realized that it didn't really work that way. It wasn't doing that, and then wondering why. Where did I go wrong here? And that's the part, I guess, that's challenging about music.
Rest in peace, Chris. You and your music will be remembered forever.